Hello everyone, this is Nyessa, and welcome to Let's Talk, verse 3 of a Bard Song. So verse 2 has come to a close with Edda on her way out of Skyrim to Solstheim, in the hopes of finding somebody to, basically do her job for her. Of course, whether or not you have played the Dragonborn expansion, you can all probably guess just how well her plans are going to go. Still, she has Garm at her side as always, and Rumarin tagging along once again, and perhaps for more than just a couple of days this time. So now the question is, when exactly is verse 3 of a Bard Song going to begin? And the answer is I'm not exactly sure yet. My original plan was to have a very short break and to get back into the story as soon as possible, and that option is still definitely on the table. If everything goes smoothly, I could have a new episode up, the first episode of verse 3, within 2 weeks or so. Definitely not much longer than that. I've been working on my mods a little bit, rearranging a couple of things, no major changes, but a few tweaks here and there to make things a little better. And it wouldn't take much to get a new episode recorded and ready to go. However, there is one factor that might delay things a bit, hopefully for the better. That, as you may be aware, is the upcoming release of Skyrim Remastered, which is due to be out in just about 3 weeks. Supposedly, it should be possible to use the same saves and the same mods in Skyrim Remastered as you already use in the original Skyrim, which means I could theoretically take my save game for Edda and all the mods that I use for the Let's Play, and move that into Skyrim Remastered for better visuals and potentially a smoother running game. Of course, nothing is ever that simple. When Skyrim Remastered comes out, I'm not going to be able to just load up Edda save and start recording right off the bat. For one thing, not all mods will work right away with Skyrim Remastered, especially those that require SKSE in order to run. And on top of that, with all of the visual changes, I would definitely have to take some time to play around with my graphics mods and see which ones I want to keep, which ones I want to get rid of, and what settings I want to change to make Skyrim look as good as possible on my machine. And of course, there may be other unforeseen problems that I can't predict at this time. All of this means that if I wait for Skyrim Remastered to be ready before I start recording verse 3 of a Bard Song, it'll be quite a longer delay than it would be if I just launch into the new verse now. If I'm lucky, I would be able to launch verse 3 in perhaps as little as 5 weeks, but that's kind of an unrealistic goal, and it's much more likely to be longer than that before I would be able to get the first episode of verse 3 out to you. So this leaves me with a dilemma. Do I wait for Skyrim Remastered, or do I launch into verse 3 right away and switch to Skyrim Remastered sometime mid-verse after I've had more time to get things up and running? So instead of making a unilateral decision, I want to put some of the control into your hands and hear back from you about what you would prefer. Should I wait for Skyrim Remastered, or should I go ahead and launch into verse 3 as soon as possible? This decision probably affects you more than it affects me, so please let me know in the comments what you prefer, and I will take everybody's preferences into consideration before I make this decision. Now, if you do decide that you want me to wait for Skyrim Remastered and take that longer break to make sure I can get it up and running smoothly, I don't want to leave you with no videos in the meantime. Skyrim library videos are something I've been meaning to get back into for a while anyway, and I have a couple of topics that I want to discuss in other Let's Talk videos, but I also want some actual gameplay to happen on this channel in the meantime. I don't intend to get into any new long-term roleplay series, but this would be a good opportunity to do a few more Let's Try videos, which I haven't been doing as much as I would have liked. And in the spirit of putting some of this decision-making into your hands, I would love to hear from you if you have any requests or suggestions for games that I could try out on the channel. Now, I don't have much of a budget these days, so I'm going to be limited to games that I either already have or that are not very expensive, but I am especially interested in trying out indie games anyway. So if you know of an indie RPG or a point-and-click adventure game, or even some other genres like maybe a real-time strategy that you think I should try, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. And before I wrap up this video, I just want to leave you with a little reminder of where you can find me on social media if you're interested in following me somewhere other than just the channel here. At the moment, the only place where I'm really active is on Tumblr, where I have two blogs. One is nyessagaming.tumblr.com, which is the main channel blog, and it mostly consists of updates with the videos that are going up here. So it's not super active, but it does have a few extras, such as transcripts of the cutscenes and documents that I've modded into the games. And every once in a while, I will post a profile of one of the NPCs related to Edda and her backstory. If you want to see more of me as a person in a bit of a more casual setting, then you can head on to nyessasundries.tumblr.com, which is more of a personal fan blog. I'm a little bit more chatty over on that blog, so you'll see me do things like reblogging fan art of various games, including games that I don't play here on the channel. You'll occasionally see some post about what's going on in my life, though not a lot of that. And a lot of what you'll see these days is me obsessing over Critical Role, which is a Geek and Sundries weekly stream of voice actors playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's a lot of fun, so if you are not watching that, you definitely should. I will leave links to all of these things down below, so check it out. So that about wraps it up for this video. Please go down to the comments and let me know the answer to these two questions. A, do you want me to wait for Skyrim Remastered before I go into verse 3? And B, what games would you like to see me do as Let's Try videos on the channel? Let me know what you think, and I will see you back in the game.